problem. This is the opportunity that Senna's looking for, and he's going through. Out! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. They beat. This is what we were fearing might happen during the race.
Ayrton Senna is disqualified. Alessandro Nannini is given the victory.
World champion of 1989.
And you know the problem with Ayrton, he can't accept not to win, and he can't accept that somebody resists by an overtaking maneuver.
And there was a gap. I went for it. He closed the door, and then was nothing I could do to avoid the contact.
Prost has taken the advantage. Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner.
By the late 1980s, Formula One was about to enter a new era. The turbocharged monsters of the early decade were being phased out, and amongst the crowd, one team stood above the rest: McLaren. In 1988, they signed Alain Prost and Ayrton Senna, and together they would prove to be the most dominant pairing the sport had ever seen.
Senna wins, Prost in second place.
And the checkered flag is waiting for Alain Prost.
Ayrton Senna crosses the line, and you can
And also the fiercest rivalry it would ever know. Prost was already a two-time world champion, nicknamed the Professor, for his methodical style and relentless consistency. He calculated risks like a chess player, focused on scoring points, and almost never made mistakes. Senna was the opposite, a newcomer with breathtaking speed and ruthless aggression. He carried himself with an intensity bordering on obsession. To Senna, every lap was a test of will, a battle not just with his rivals, but with himself. Together, these two were unstoppable. Out of the 16 races in 1988, McLaren won 15. Senna's sheer pace gave him 8 victories and his first world championship.
Senna crosses the line, and you can see his exultation.
It's now you two.
Good fun. We will have good fun from now on.
Maybe we fight outside the car.
No, I think it's gonna get more and more exciting, the championship.
Is it possible to be equal at the championship?
No.
Shit.
Can only be one winner.
By 1989, McLaren was still the team to beat. Their cars were in a league of their own, and once again, all eyes were on Prost and Senna, two drivers destined to fight each other. But beneath the surface, their partnership that powered McLaren's dominance was starting to crack. At the San Marino Grand Prix, the fragile trust between them finally broke. Before the race, they made an agreement. Whoever led in turn 1 after the start would not be challenged by the other.
So here we are, red light and green, they're away for 61 laps. And Ayrton Senna getting the best start ahead of Alain Prost.
The agreement went to plan. Senna had a better start and led turn 1. But during the race, Gerhard Berger was involved in a massive crash, causing a red flag restart.
And Berger goes straight off into the barrier. A big accident this, at 180 miles an hour, shedding bits of car, and it bursts into flame. There's a full fuel load on board that car, and the race, of course, is stopped.
Thankfully, Berger was okay, and they were able to restart the race.
And before the restart, we had good news that he wasn't badly hurt. Meanwhile, they formed up on the grid again and once again set off for their parade lap.
This time, during the race restart, Prost got the better start, but Senna surged ahead and challenged the lead, overtaking Prost.
And Alain Prost made by far the best start that time, but Ayrton Senna tucked right in behind Alain Prost. He pulls out of Prost's slipstream, goes through and straight into the lead.
To Prost, this was seen as an act of betrayal, believing that Senna had broken their agreement. To Senna, it was just racing, as he believed that the agreement didn't apply to race restarts. That day marked the breaking point, the spark that turned allies into rivals.
Senna-Prost, Prost-Senna, vous le savez, c'est toujours dans un ordre ou dans l'autre. Le torchon brûle tout simplement parce que le Français, Alain Prost, estime que son coéquipier manque de loyauté à son égard. Et visiblement, leur querelle pourrait avoir des suites sur cette saison de Formule 1.
What followed was a season of silent war. Prost accused Senna of reckless driving. Senna accused Prost of using his connections, especially with the FIA president, to tilt the rules in his favor. On track, the rivalry grew dangerous. Off track, it became political. Their final showdown came in Suzuka, Japan. Prost led the standings. Senna needed a win to stay alive. The championship had all come down to this one race.
Ayrton Senna has to win today to win the World Championship. Beautiful start by Alain Prost, who goes into the lead. 3.65 seconds. Prost has increased his lead. Comes up to any of them. This is the opportunity that Senna's looking for, and he's going through. Ouch! Oh my goodness, this is fantastic. They beat. This is what we were fearing might happen during the race, and that means to say that Prost has won the World Championship. Alain Prost, World Champion of 1989.
Prost stepped out. His race finished. Senna was able to restart, charging through the field, crossing the line in first place, a defiant act of redemption. But within hours, the FIA struck him down, disqualified for cutting the chicane, fined and stripped of his victory. The title went to Prost.
Now we hear that there's been a protest and Ayrton Senna has been disqualified. There's Ron Dennis, the McLaren boss. Ayrton Senna is disqualified. Alessandro Nannini is given the victory.
Vous avez entendu que ce tribunal, vous avez entendu comme moi que ce tribunal a prononcé non seulement une suspension avec sursis de licence, ce qui est un avertissement non seulement pour Ayrton Senna mais pour tous les pilotes, mais a prononcé également une aggravation de la peine. Quand on est un grand pilote, quand on est parmi les meilleurs pilotes du monde, on n'avait pas le droit non plus d'avoir un accrochage stupide.
You're the world champion, Alain?
Apparently, yes. I was not 100% sure. I know the regulation, but you never know how it's going to be. To be very honest, I was absolutely sure that I'm going to win the race or an accident like this, because I knew that he wanted to win absolutely. And the problem with Ayrton, he can't accept that. He can't accept not to win, and he can't accept that somebody resists by an overtaking maneuver. To be very honest, I'm quite happy to leave, because I think it becomes absolutely impossible to work with Ayrton, and that's a good end of championship.
The way the whole affair has been treated is like I have total responsibility for everything that took place there. I was blamed for everything, and I was penalized for everything. I was treated like a criminal, and this is totally unacceptable.
Suzuka had marked the end of a season, with Prost securing his third world title, becoming only the sixth driver to accomplish such a feat. But this ending had something far more dangerous, a rivalry that had only just begun. In 1990, Prost had left McLaren. he joined Ferrari, looking for distance from a partnership that had turned toxic. The rivalry, however, would still follow him.
A new season starts with this weigh-in. Are you putting everything of last year behind you?
Well, that's a good start with the interview. I think 1990 is 1990, and we are here Phoenix, and we are here for racing, and that's what should take place.
In the press conference this morning, somebody asked you if you carried any grudges, and you just said silence.
Same to you now.
What happened in 1989 had not been forgotten, and the rivalry between Senna and Prost only seemed to grow stronger throughout the season. After weeks of battling back and forth, once again, the championship came down to Suzuka.
Dangerous behavior and/or dangerous maneuvers will be investigated immediately and may lead to suspension of the license for one or more Formula One World Championships events. Any questions?
It was a big fuck up last year with Ayrton. Why we have to repeat the same thing?
Okay.
Does everybody feel that way?
Yeah.
I can't stand it. I can't stand this. It's a joke. After what happened last year, it's a joke, this situation. You just prove here, I said nothing, and you see somebody raising the point, and you see everybody agree. And last year was really bad for me. I'm sorry.
And the hot news from Suzuka is that Ayrton Senna is starting from the right-hand side of the grid, much to his annoyance. The right-hand side is pole position, and the track is dirty there. Senna asked for the pole position to be changed from the left to the left. His request was refused. The grid is clear, the lights go. And Senna sprints away, but Alain Prost takes the lead. It's happened. Alain Prost has taken the advantage. Senna is trying to go through on the inside, and it's happened immediately. This is amazing. Senna goes off at the first corner, but what has happened to Prost? He has gone off too. Well, that is amazing, but I fear absolutely predictable.
At over 200 kilometers per hour, Senna launched into Prost Ferrari at the first corner. Both were eliminated instantly. The crowd was stunned, the television world erupted, and Ayrton Senna, through one of the most controversial moves in Formula One history, was crowned world champion.
Can you tell us what happened on the first lap by Ayrton?
Well, unfortunately we touched in the first corner when we were fighting for the lead, and we both went off.
I think that's because the pole position is on the wrong side of the track here. You wanted to change that.
Absolutely. You fight, you break your to be on pole, and then they put you on the wrong side of the circuit.
How do you feel about being world champion?
It's not a bad feeling at all, is it?
Congratulations.
As Senna celebrated his win, almost immediately, the debate began in the F1 world. Was Senna's move deliberate? And was he claiming a world championship or delivering an answer to 1989?
You've had 2 weeks to think about it. Do you think that he deliberately crashed into you?
Absolutely, 100%. And I have, a video here from the helicopter. I have the video from some people. I think it's very bad, to try to prove the things. But I am a racing driver, a lot of experience, and I never lie. And I can tell you he has done 100% deliberately. That's what I don't accept.
After Suzuka, the world waited for the next explosion. Another clash, another controversy. But what came next surprised everyone. In 1991, Senna was untouchable, winning his 3rd world championship. Meanwhile, Prost struggled at Ferrari, a team in disarray. He called the car a truck and openly criticized the team publicly. Ferrari fired him with one race still to go.
The most successful Grand Prix driver of all time, dramatically and demeaningly fired by Ferrari for criticising his car and the team's management.
The rivalry that had once burned so bright was suddenly one-sided. Prost was out. Senna had no one left to fight. In 1992, Prost sat out the entire season. Senna, still at McLaren, could only watch as the new era began. Williams, with their revolutionary active suspension, dominated everything. Nigel Mansell won the championship with 5 races to spare. Senna won just 3 races that year. The McLaren-Honda era was over, and for the first time in years, the sport moved on without either of them in the front. In 1993, Prost returned, this time with Williams, but there was one key condition in his contract. Senna could not be his teammate.
Prost has a contract with Williams, and that's for quite some time now. And in his contract, I cannot drive there. And he refuses for me to drive there alongside him. They gave him basically the right to refuse who drives next to him. And he totally refused to drive with me and clearly state that he can't cope with me. I push too hard and he can't cope anymore. It's impossible to accept somebody to come to a team February in the year with a signed contract, veto myself and himself too, and eventually they change his side, but stay with the veto on myself. And I think if Prost wants to be called the sole champ and 3 times world champ and come back in a sportive way, maybe win another championship, he should be sportive. The way he's doing, he's behaving like a coward. That's the way he wants to race. This is no racing. And this is bad to all of us.
Prost dominated that season, with 7 wins, securing his 4th and final world championship. But Senna, in an underpowered McLaren, fought him all year long. In Portugal, 2 races before the end, Prost clinched the title, announcing his retirement. The greatest rivalry in Formula One history was over. For the first time all season, Senna took pole position. Ayrton's last race for McLaren, Prost's last race for Formula One. One final battle. Senna led from start to finish, giving him his 41st and final victory. On the podium, something unexpected happened. Senna reached out his hand and gave it to Prost. He then pulled him up onto the top step of the podium. They stood there together, not as enemies, not as rivals, but as 2 men. 2 men who had pushed each other beyond any limit either of them could have reached alone. It was the last time they would ever share a podium, and the last time Senna would ever stand on one. After Adelaide, everything changed. Prost was no longer a threat, and suddenly friendship was possible. They spoke on the phone, once, even twice a week. Senna called him constantly. They talked about racing, safety, about life beyond the rivalry that had consumed them both. Senna had spent years defining himself against Prost, and now, without him, he seemed lost. Imola, the 3rd race of the 1994 season, one of the worst weekends in the history of motorsports. 6 months after Adelaide, Prost was at Imola, working as a TV commentator. He saw Senna twice that morning. Senna was troubled. His friend had been killed in qualifying the day before. The sport felt different, dangerous again. Before the race, Senna sent a message over the radio, knowing Prost was listening.
A special hello to our dear friend Alain in France. We all miss you, Alain.
Those were some of the last words Ayrton Senna would ever speak. Lap 7, the Tamburello corner. At 145 miles per hour, Senna's Williams struck the concrete wall. Ayrton Senna was gone.
We were very close in the last 6 months. We were calling each other very, very often. There's a lot of things that I wanted to say, a lot of good things, a lot of difficult things. And then the period where I retired, the next 6 months more or less, before his accident, and I discovered another person, another personality. And I understood exactly what he was when he was younger and when he was racing against me. I was really one of the best part of my relation with him, not driving the cars, but outside cars.
History remembers them not only for their victories, but for the fire that they brought out in each other. Prost's precision, Senna's raw intensity, two philosophies colliding on a racetrack. Their rivalry pushed Formula One to heights the sport had never seen, and may never see again. You cannot tell the story of Prost without Senna, or Senna without Prost. Together, they created the greatest rivalry Formula One has ever known.